evening, everyone. It's good to see you all here. This is a meeting totally about dual enrollment. We have all the counselors here, Ms. McPherson, our assistant principal. We have Derek Sutton from the University of North Georgia. We have a rep from Lanier Tech. And we hope we can answer all your questions, give you a clear picture of what dual enrollment is and our process to take advantage of it. My name's Alan Hogan. I'm one of the counselors. The dual enrollment program allows high school students to take college courses for free and receive both high school and college credit. So double credit. In most cases, the college credit for a Georgia school carries. I know other people are going to speak of this, but some colleges, particularly the very exclusive colleges, you've got to check their websites to see what their policy is on dual enrollment courses. Nevertheless, it gets credit from both high school and college. They may be taken through University of North Georgia at the Lanier campus, 11th and 12th grade students only. Lanier Tech at any of their campuses, and sometimes here at Lumpkin County High. They may be taken online from either of these options, as well as many other colleges or universities in Georgia. Students may take up to 4 classes during the semester. You should look at the different options and understand the requirements. One of the first things to do is to check out the college website. This is one that I have to go to frequently. Things change, and there are all sorts of tabs to click where you can find additional information, but the college's website is the key to finding out the requirements. Understand the college, how the college ultimately wants to view dual enrollment, so you check with the college how they are approaching. And understand your students' dual enrollment courses and how they will transfer to another institution. Some may and some may not. This is why it's very important to speak to us, the counselors here at the high school, and the advisors at the colleges. That is all from me. I will be around for questions. I've handled a lot of the dual enrollment for University of North Georgia. But now Kelly Person will speak to you about some of the requirements.
Good evening. As Mr. Hogan said, my name is Kelly Person. I'm one of the other counselors here at the high school. I'm going to talk to you briefly about the process for dual enrollment. So the first step is to schedule a meeting with your child's counselor. It will be important that both you and your student are present at this meeting. Before starting this process, some things that you want to take into consideration are your student's current course load. So do they have time in their schedule to fit in the requirements of a dual enrollment class? They're obviously held to the same standards as a high school student and a college student. You want to consider their HOPE average. You want to look at their long-range goals and consider their extracurricular activities. Once you've decided to proceed with this process, again, you'll schedule a meeting with your counselor. You'll fill out the Lumpkin County Dual Enrollment Student Participation Agreement. After that step, you will apply to the institution of your choice, be it UNG, Lanier Tech, or as Mr. Hogan says, there are several other options. You'll also want to submit a transcript to the institution, and there are transcript request forms that can be found in the guidance office for those students. Also, you want to make sure that your student has taken the SAT or ACT. Those are required for a 4-year university. The active placer would be needed for a 2-year school. And once your student has received their acceptance letter, they're going to create a Georgia Futures account, georgiafutures.org, funding application for dual enrollment. Again, you want to make sure that you're aware of the timelines. All steps in this process must be completed in a timely manner. There's a dual enrollment checklist that students can pick up in the guidance office that, again, goes over the timeline and the deadlines that students will need to meet. Keep in mind that failure to follow those steps may result in the student being unable to participate in the program. And Ms. Tanya Corbett will talk about the dual enrollment contract.
So in your packet there, or the papers that you were handed tonight, the first part is that checklist. And in the checklist, it gives you those dates and times and things that you need to be aware of. If you go to the next page, it begins the Lumpkin County School District Student Participation Agreement. You can find a student participation agreement online or just a generic. However, Lumpkin County, like most counties, have their own dual enrollment student participation agreement. So the state allows us to add in other requirements so that our students, we can make sure that our students have what they need and are successful. So if you look at the first part of the contract, I'm not going to read all of this, but the second statement is that they are in good academic standing. What we see is that if kids are making A's and B's, they're probably capable in the more advanced classes, they're probably capable of doing very well at UNG. If they're making C's and B's, you might want to look at what they have. And if they're making B's and maybe A's and regular on level, a Lanier Tech might be the appropriate place. And it just depends on where your student is. So you have to look at what they're doing and what kinds of things they're doing. The eligible dual enrollment student must contact the high school, and I think every single one of us has said that so far. We cannot approve a course. We can't change a course. They're not going to do that until you meet with us. That is a state policy. I asked this summer at a conference, I said, well, can they just go do it over there? And they said, absolutely not. They need to meet with the counselor. The counselor has to make sure that they are on track for graduation. Any changes to that schedule has to also go through the counselor at the school. Then you would meet with your counselor or your advisor at the college. So when you, sorry about that. When you look at the student and parent guardian, the third one down, choose to withdraw. If you withdraw from a class, the W goes on your transcript at the college. If you withdraw failing, then you come to us with failing grade, and we try to place you in a class that's of equal, class online. We do not put you back in a classroom setting. So it's an online class that meets that. If we can't find one that's like yours online, then a failing grade of 59 goes on your transcript. Whatever you do at the college stays with you at the high school. What happens at college that's on your high school transcript impacts your HOPE GPA for when you graduate. The college transcript will have it on there, but your HOPE calculation starts over when you get to the college, so that they don't jeopardize you twice for that failing grade or that withdrawing. Okay? Does that make sense? The next piece is the Georgia Futures funding. And we added this in here because if a student does not fill out that Georgia funding application in an appropriate and timely manner, they end up with a bill being sent to their parents, and you have to pay it. So in order for us to do our part of it, you want to make sure that that funding application is done when the student is admitted to the college. Once they're admitted to the college, you do your funding application. Once the schedule is set, we go in and approve it, and you don't get a bill. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. The next piece is if they don't show for a class. And we added this in here this year because we had some kids who did not go online on the first day of class, and they did not show up for the first day of class. So they were no-showed, and then they were going to be dropped from the class. So if the student does not do that, and there's not some special circumstances, the student will be dropped from dual enrollment, and you will be put in classes here at Untitled County High School. And that's, again, to protect your student from being in a situation where they don't go online, they're not getting their stuff done, and then they get in a hole that's too big to get out of. In college, it's a little bit different than in high school. There aren't as many makeup days and things like that. So we want to make sure that they don't get in a hole. So first day, they need to show up or they need to sign on online. Dual enrollment expectations and responsibilities have been shared with you. That's why we want to meet with you. And those of you who are here tonight are going to hear from Derek and Nancy about the expectations of Lanier Tech and North Georgia. And then the last part is the CLEP. And I just found out today that when a student goes and takes a CLEP test, which basically you test out of taking a course, that grade is not necessarily transferable to another school. The other college may or may not take that CLEP grade. In the past, it's kind of been, yeah, they did it. But that is not necessarily the case. If you take that CLEP test and you plan on staying at that institution, then that would be good. But if you plan on transferring to another school or applying to a college in another area, you might want to reconsider the CLEP option because you want to make sure you get your credits. And that is all that I have on the contract. Those have to be filled out and turned in to us prior to, well, when you do your application, you meet with us, all of that is lined out, and then once that's completed, you will wait for your admissions, and once you receive your admissions, you do Georgia funding. Okay? Ms. Beaver?
Hello. Thank y'all for coming tonight. I'll tell you a little bit about Lanier Technical College and the advantages there. And we'll skip ahead just a little bit since we've already covered the front of this. I will let you know that we are not your grandfather's trade school anymore. We are a technical college. That being said, we are SAC COC accredited. Our faculty are accredited just as any other board or regent school or any other technical college in the state. That means they have the educational requirements, and the advantage is that 99% of our faculty who are teaching in program, all the ones that are teaching in program areas and are gen ed, they have worked in field. So if you have someone who's teaching automotive, they've worked in the automotive industry and they have the educational credentials. We have 28 general education courses that will transfer. Those are available on our website. If you go on the front of our website, somebody mentioned earlier that the information is there. There's a dual enrollment portal on the front of our website that has frequently asked questions, test score requirements, admissions requirements, requirements for financial aid. But we do have the 28 transfer courses is in that location as well. 28 courses will transfer to the Board of Regents. This is a guaranteed transfer. Of course, it's always up to the receiving institution of how they place those courses. In some cases, they may be considered a general ed elective if the major you're going in does not require college algebra. Then that could be used as an elective, for example. We are the only collegiate system in the nation that I know of that guarantees its graduates. This means that if you have a graduate that graduates out of our automotive program or any other program we teach, if they go out and go to work and their employer says they need retraining in this skill, we will retrain them for free, no charge whatsoever to them within 2 years after they graduate. We pay for the textbooks, we pay for the training, and we retrain them for free. If they are in another location in Georgia, any technical school in Georgia will recognize this as a requirement for them as well. So if you happen to move to Valdosta, Valdosta will do the retraining. So we do warranty our graduates on the training received. And how do we do that? Because we have program advisory people from business and industry that represent every program that we offer, and they keep us on the cutting edge. So we know what software they're using, what equipment they're using in their program. Same program equipment we have in their program is the same equipment you're going to see in business and industry. For the last 5 out of 6 years, we've had 100% placement rate. That means that every graduate that graduated from Lanier Tech found a job with 100% placement. We had one student 2 years ago who did not get a job. So if y'all can help him get a job, we'll have 6 years out of 6 for 100% placement rate. This past year, we had 100% in-field placement rate, which means if we trained them in welding, they got a job in welding. If we trained them in nursing, they got a job in nursing, and that's pretty incredible. We have over 40 majors and degrees, diploma certificates that we have available, so a lot of options. One thing that we do need to talk about, we do accept ACT, SAT, PSAT. We also accept the Hope GPA after 10th grade. So there's a lot of different avenues besides the AccuPlacer to get in. If you took the SAT and you scored high in math but didn't score high in English, then we will only test you in the section that we need to test you in. You don't have to retake the entire test. So we'll test you in AccuPlacer on the English section. We will accept 9th through 12th grades are eligible. There is no minimum GPA requirement on our side. There's no need for a high school transcript on our side. And there are no residency requirements on our side. So you can be in-state, out-of-state, foreign, doesn't matter what you do if you're in the HOPE program. So really the only thing we're asking for is an application. The application is online on our website. And we do ask that you provide us with some readiness scores, whatever these score categories that you send forward to show readiness, then we will, as long as they meet the minimum test score requirements, then we're good to go. We do have intimate classroom settings. We try to cap our classes at 25, so even gen ed courses. So you have that one-on-one experience and you won't be put into a large classroom where you feel overwhelmed. I know I had psychology when I was a freshman at Georgia. I had 125 people in my classroom. You try asking a question in front of 125 people, it's a little intimidating. So you get that personal attention from our faculty. The difference really in a technical education degree is that we do hands-on training. It's not lecture-based. We do have some lecture, but you actually put your hands on the air conditioning system if you're doing air conditioning. You actually put your hands on whatever that, if you're into an EMS, you're going to be on an ambulance. You're going to do that hands-on training. I would have learned better that way because I learned by doing, not by lecturing. So the benefits of dual enrollment is free tuition and textbooks. Of course, y'all all know that. Mandatory fees may be assessed if you're going into welding and you have to buy a welding shield or welding helmet. Then of course that is charged. You would have to pay for that. But otherwise, all textbooks fees or textbook and tuition fees are covered. We do 3 semesters per year, fall, spring, and summer, 15 credit hours per semester. Dual enrollment courses do not count against your HOPE scholarship or CAP hours. Most of y'all know that when you enter college and if you're a HOPE scholar or a HOPE grant recipient, you have a set number of hours that you can receive that scholarship from, and then it times out, and you would no longer be eligible for HOPE grant or HOPE scholar. It's 127 hours for the scholarship. These hours as dual enrollment do not count against that cap. So when you graduate and go to college, you still have that full funding. This allows a student a smooth transition, so it gives you an idea of being in a small setting but still being able to be in a college setting as well. You're going to save money toward a college degree, and again, we have no residency requirements. These are a few of the program areas that we teach in. We've started some new programs this year in diesel equipment technology. It's available on the Hall campus. We do have construction management. It's a new program for us. We have marine tech, which is a new program for us. But we have everything from A to Z. Well, we don't teach zoology, so I guess it's A to D and welding. So we have everything from accounting to welding, cosmetology, criminal justice, dental hygiene is a program that's very popular. We have just started a new RN program. So some of those are selective admissions programs, but those are all available in Lanier Tech. Give you an idea a little bit about competitive salary outcomes. I wish I had made these salaries when I graduated. Of course, that was a few years ago, too, at least. Dental hygienist, $63,800 is not a bad salary. Construction trades supervisor, $59,000, not a bad have starting salary. I'll tell you a little story about a gentleman that just graduated from us, who was our gold student, Chase Sweetum. Just graduated with a diploma in welding. Just decided he might do a little underwater welding. He is going to Dutch Harbor, Alaska. If any of y'all watched the sketch, you know where Dutch Harbor is. His starting salary is $145,000 a year as an underwater welder. We also have an automotive student. Just went to work 2 years ago. He's working in Savannah, Georgia. He's over 2 dealerships. He's making $125,000 a year. So there are some incredible salaries to be made out there if you just have the skills. I'm having a house renovated. I just finished paying $10,000 to have my plumbing done, so great progress. You can also participate in student life organizations. We have a number of those on campus, everything from student government to honor societies to programs that are particularly dear to whatever program you might be in. Also have a number of campus life activities. We're getting ready to have fall festivals on all of our campus. We have national speaker coming in 2 weeks. We do movies on the green. We do a lot of activities for our students, so you're welcome in all of those. Currently, we have 250 pink flamingos on one of our campus, thanks to Tommy Morris, that we're doing a fundraiser for Skills USA, if any of y'all have participated in Skills USA. If any of y'all would like to buy a flamingo, Tommy probably has one. College resources, we have career services, we have disability services, tutoring services, so please don't be lost in class because we do have folks that really care. All of our faculty have office hours that are available to speak with you, work with you. They just need to know what you need and what the process is, so all have published office hours. We have library and computer labs on every campus. But we do have some expectations on our students, and basically you're expected to study. You're expected to be diligent about what you do. Dennis said earlier, my friend back here, that after 35 years, he came back to work, and the first thing that Lanier Tech asked him for was his college transcript. And that's true. The businesses want to know how you did in college. High school grades, you know, they're important. They get you into college, but we don't ask for a high school transcript when you get out. It's the college transcript that the employer is going to ask to see, and they're going to want to know how well you did. So you're going to have to provide that. Be self-disciplined. Know what's going on, particularly if you take an online course. If you're doing something through Blackboard, you're going to have to open those class grades open. They close. Those assignments are due. Those tests are due. You have to be very self-directed to do those kind of coursework. You must maintain a minimum 2.0 GPA to be eligible, and you have to have a 67% completion rate to be eligible for the financial funding. So again, similar to what was just said, our admissions requirements: meet with your high school counselor, get that participation agreement. We're going to submit the online application that's available on our website. Again, it's either submitting an ACT score, a PSAT score, an SAT score, or taking the AccuPlacer with us, and we will offer the AccuPlacer here at Lumpkin County High School. We also teach on the high school location as well. Complete the dual enrollment funding application, attend an orientation session. We have an orientation session called Charting the Course that we do for all of our dual enrollment students, which teaches you to access your email. It teaches you to get to an online portal. It teaches you how to, you'll hear from faculty about expectations of the classroom. We'll teach you how to use Banner Web, which is our software that we use. So we lead you through that process. Any questions? Okay, these are our application deadlines. Now, I don't know if yours are earlier than this. I don't remember. But if they are, you know, you have to meet the Lumpkin County High School deadlines. But for spring term, our deadline for early registration is October 1st, and for late registration, December 1st. Of course, the earlier you get it in, the first selection of classes you have. Our first day of spring is January the 13th. Summer, May 26th, and then fall would be August the 17th. We do register in the spring for both summer and fall terms, so that we try to get all of that out of the way. So these are our contact people, if you need to contact her, have further questions. For Lumpkin County, it would be Holly Bates at this point, and this is her number and email address. Questions? Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Derek Sutton. I'm with the University of North Georgia. I've stood on this stage now every year for about the last 5 or 6 years and given this presentation. You've heard a lot tonight about options, and I think that's really what excites me on the post-secondary side of working with dual enrollment. When I was in high school, graduated 1 or 2 years ago, I didn't have options. We didn't even have AP credits. We just took classes and graduated, and that was it. Tonight, you're going to hear everything from staying in high school to taking AP credits, to going to Lanier Tech, to going to UNG, to even earning an associate's degree as a dual enrollment student. That's pretty cool options. So no matter what happens, I want you to understand there's an option out there for you, no matter what your goals are. And I know many of you are probably juniors or seniors. You may not be thinking 4 or 5, 6 years down the road. But when we start talking dual enrollment, we have to start having some of those tough conversations. I'm going to skip through some of these slides pretty quickly, simply because a lot of the information is the same that you heard from Lanier Tech. So I'm not going to repeat myself any more than I have to. One of the things I do like to always point out is the tremendous growth since 2013 in the dual enrollment program. This year, you can tack on about another 200 students over last fall. So we're up over 1,400 now. A lot of that is attributed to the growth of the Jones Early College program that we have in Hall County, that we partner with Lanier Tech and Renau and other schools with as well. So it is very popular. The other thing is we retain a lot of our students. We have a lot of students who stay with us once they start doing dual enrollment, which is pretty awesome. As a matter of fact, I saw today, just bumping into students on campus, I saw several who graduated from Lumpkin in the last couple of years, and I remember from their time as dual enrollment. Here are the admissions criteria. It's a little bit different. I don't know if that's, looks like there's a little technical issue there, but that's okay. We had a change just recently. As a matter of fact, Monday. You'll notice in the redesigned SAT, there's a 530 ERW. That may be something you're not familiar with. It's okay because I'm not either. It is a new evidence-based reading and writing score that the Board of Regents has instructed that we will utilize for dual enrollment admission. It really equates to the old 26 that we used on the sub-score for reading, but it's just a new calculation. You'll also notice the 480 for math, a 1050 combined. With the ACT, you'll notice 20 English, and it may be kind of hard to see, 18 math with a 20 minimum score with a 3.25 GPA. One of the things I want to point out for UNG is that all 4 of those are criteria for admission. You have to meet all 4 of them, okay? So if you have a 20 English on the ACT, a 19 math, but a 19 composite, you're not admissible to UNG. If you have the admissible scores, but a 3.24 GPA, you're not admissible as well. And please understand, when we talk about the GPA for purposes of admission, we're referring to what we call your Carnegie units. Those are your Englishes, your maths, your histories, your foreign languages. No electives are calculated in that. So if you're interested in attending UNG for dual enrollment, one of the most important things to do is sit with your counselor and find out and work on what that GPA might be as we recalculate it. Everyone is stressed so far, and I will add to the discussion. Speak with your counselor. This is the first step. Don't come see me. Okay? If you come see me, first question out of my mouth would be, have you seen your counselor? And if you say no, I will send you to your counselor. You have to have a student participation agreement. The application for admission, the fee is not required. Official high school transcripts, test scores, and verification of lawful presence. That is to apply to the university. And as noted earlier, we only accept juniors and seniors. So if you are a sophomore and you're a rising junior for next year, we would accept you for next fall. This may be a little difficult to see, but this is the funding application and part of the process for dual enrollment at georgiafutures.org. We have about 240, 250-ish classes approved in all kinds of areas. I could sit here and tell you all night the various courses that students have taken. I've had multiple students right now in 3000 level Arabic, Chinese. Languages are very popular with us as our STEM classes. Lots of calculus and chemistry, biology, and that kind of stuff. But we have classes all across the board. And we approve, not a lot, but every year we tend to approve a couple more. In addition to working with the Lanier campus, I also am the advisor for dual enrollment online through UNG. So I work with all the online students. We can accommodate online. We have a lot of online classes through our participation in the eCore program. Fully online courses, it can cost you an administration fee for the test, but that's about it. About 30 classes to choose from. The thing we have to be careful with students is online. Not all colleges will accept online credits as well. Don't take online chemistry and go to Georgia Tech. They will not like that. Okay? So we have to be very careful with what you take online. You saw a similar slide from Lanier Tech just a few minutes ago. Don't count it against Hope Scholarship. Tuition covered up to 15 hours. The big thing that I like to always talk about with this, we can talk about money savings all the time. But when I graduated high school, those 1 or 2 years ago, I was not sure if I was going to college. Which seems ironic looking back on it now, considering I've spent my entire professional career in higher ed. But I wasn't sure if college was the place for me. And I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of students from a lot of different high schools. Similar. You know, they're not sure, I'm not sure if this is what I want to do. Well, come take some classes. And they fall in love with it. And I've seen some tremendous success with students. And we have a lot of tough conversations. And one of the things that I always like to talk about with these options, maybe AP classes are what's best for you. Maybe working on a trade degree or technical degree from Lanier Tech, working in welding. That is fantastic. It's about what you want. Those are the options that you have. Opportunities are endless. We only restrict our dual enrollment students from really 5 things on campus. Most of those would make sense. Parents, dual enrollment students can join a sorority or fraternity. That will probably give you some comfort. But really the only one that really upsets students is they can't use our exercise facility. That's the one that kind of bums students out a little bit. We have dual enrollment students who participate in our cybersecurity program. Just read an article today that UNG fielded one of the top cybersecurity teams in the nation, top 10 team, which is pretty cool. Great new program that we have. Our dual enrollment students are supplemental instruction leaders. We have students who are note takers through our Office of Student Disability Services. Pretty much anything and everything that you can imagine. We have a number of students who participate in our Summer Language Institute. This is an immersion learning program done during the summer where you take multiple language courses in a language. Those students I mentioned who are taking those 3000 level Arabic or Chinese courses, this is where they started, and they love it. They're on campus for about 5-6 weeks and really learn the language. It's really a wonderful opportunity. And this year, you can see we've done Arabic, Chinese, Korean, Russian, German, Portuguese. You can finish college earlier, you can save money. We graduated 13 students, I believe it was, forgive me if my math is wrong, back in May with their associate's degree, the same month they graduated high school. That means they earned 60 college credit hours towards a degree and still had 127 hours of Hope Scholarship. That's some serious money. But it was also a time for them to grow and to learn and to expand their knowledge and find out what they wanted to do, what they We pay for tuition up to 15 credit hours a semester, mandatory fees, and books. We do have roughly three types of fees that we do not cover. Art courses, language, and science. The most I've ever had a dual enrollment student spend taking approved courses was about $120 in a semester. That's not too shabby. You have to maintain a 2.5 GPA. If you drop below a 2.5 to 2.0, we'll put you on probation. If you drop below a 2.0 at any point, we will dismiss you from the program. Regardless of what your high school standards might be, that's UNG standards. We also have expectations and requirements on our students. You just got to spend that time studying. Your faculty don't know you're a dual enrollment student. You're just a student in their class. I teach American government, and my students, I have dual enrollment students in my class, and they're a student. They have the same expectations, the same everything, just like any other student in my classroom. Spring break, they don't match up. So you'll have high school on UNG spring break and UNG on high school spring break. So that can be kind of a bummer in that spring semester. You have to attend class, and you can't be late. I had a student in the spring semester who decided to ball off one of their classes. Their faculty member dropped them with the WF that was mentioned earlier on the last day of the semester. All they had left was to take the final, but they decided to blow it off. And that was an F. Minimum GPA of a 2.5. We send all grades back as letter grades. We do not give high school equivalent numerical averages. The high school will assign based on the letter grade. If you have an IEP or a 504 and have accommodations at the high school, we can extend those directly to UNG while you are doing it. And last but not least, no need to reapply. When it comes time for you to graduate high school, you fill out an intent form. We reevaluate you just to make sure nothing went sideways in that last year or two, and you stay at UNG and transition straight to a freshman. It is not guaranteed, but I do honestly, I believe in all the years I've done dual enrollment, I've had one student rejected from the bachelor's program that was dual enrolled with me. And that was a weird, weird circumstance. Our deadlines for the summer and fall are March 15th and October 1st for spring, but just like with Lanier Tech, the earlier the better. I definitely need to see you as early as I can before we get to orientation season, because we can fill up the classes pretty quickly. Contact information for the Gainesville campus, the Dahlonega campus. There's my contact information, and I can always come over here. One of the advantages of being 4.5 minutes away is I can come by the high school anytime needed. I'll be out in the lobby